Hey there, Jen here with Simpson and Little Girl. They're having their peanut butter, so please forgive me. I'm still icky. It's just not my time of year. Some of you know that, so I'm going to ease into this topic a bit, and I'll offer some disclaimers. I'm going to have to say this video is for entertainment purposes only, wink wink. Whatever you decide to accept, receive, and believe as truth, that's on you. It's all up to you. You have agency here. You have choice. You always have a choice. So I'm just going to start this out maybe like a podcast. I'm going to leave it black for a second. I have a lot of stuff pulled up, and I have my phone as well because I started searching last night just on a whim, and that's usually how the spirit works in me. And I found some stuff like I usually do. Forgive me as I smoke a little bit. I'm finding my anxiety is really, really rough lately. I'm going through some stuff again, going through some changes in my body and spirit. It's a good thing. I find myself being really just at peace and abiding. And I'm going to talk about that, but not in this video. We'll talk a little bit about coping mechanisms and how to just abide. Good morning, my KL. Greetings and salutations. So you guys remember when we were kids? I'm going to show my age here. Excuse me. And I'm going to take some of my mushroom drops to help with my anxiety. And no, they're not magic mushrooms. They are like lion's mane and whatnot. So, but do you remember when we were kids and our version of like the emergency text or the Amber Alerts went off on television? Real nifty way to convince people that they had to have that in their house, right? For your children, always for the children. I'm convinced that's the only reason they want us having children is so that they can manipulate us through them. And so they have someone to replace us if we start acting up, kind of how my generation is doing right now. Man, for being a Generation Xer, we sure kind of all woke up at the same time and started speaking out. And really, again, it's really cool to see the butterfly effect in action and on the internet and seeing good things in the way of unity and not bashing each other over the head with our beliefs, but just saying, hey, you know. But do you remember that alert that would go over the TV and you'd get this loud, like, shrilling note or tone that would say, and that's interesting, isn't it? The way they control us with bells, but not real bells. They control us with frequency, with tones. They can't have real bells around. And again, we've been talking about bells for a couple of years now, and I told you I'd been hearing bells, and now I'm seeing that's getting spread around on TikTok. So again, it's awesome to see people waking up to the fact that there is an ether, that there is a spirit realm, that there is a supernatural, and that you kind of have to fight there, you know? I always hated that alert sound. Yeah, it reminds me of the hearing tests, which they're now calling gateway tests. They remind me a lot of that. But it would come on, it would say, this is only a test. This is only a test. Looking back, that has been my whole life. It was only a test allowing me to work in that nursing home, to see how far I was willing to go, to see if I would commit fraud, to see if I would look the other way in certain instances. I was probably only hired at the bank for that reason. My high school sweetheart, who I hadn't really talked to, we were on Instagram or something, but he had a life out of life. We're in different states, you know, just the kind of online friend thing. And he helped me get this job, and I should have been suspicious because he was in the Air Force. Everyone around me has always been, I feel like I'm an asset. Like at this point, I really do. I feel like an asset, and that they just kind of use me to see what's coming. And I don't want to be used for the enemy's purposes. Like I won't do that. And so I don't talk to them a lot right now, and I pray over my videos and devices, and I try not to anyway. I'm too honest, I know, if there is such a thing. But anyway, so you get this tone and it says, this has been only a test. Well, the bank was the test. I went so far there. I went as far as you could being a nurse aide. Now, please remember this. I'm not a medical professional. No part of this is medical advice. However, I do have a background in healthcare, I started as an activity aide with no degree, and I ended doing everything you possibly could without having a nursing degree and only having an STNA, nursing assistant degree. I was a restorative therapist aide. I was a regular floor aide. I was an Alzheimer's unit aide. I was an assisted living aide. I was restorative therapy means I help them walk, I help them dress, I help them relearn how to walk and dress and eat and chew and swallow. But that was a test to see how far I'd be willing to go, to see how much true compassion I had, I believe. I always wondered why it seemed like so many people who didn't want to be nurse aides were there. And the beginning of CV in 2019 really showed me what I needed to see. And I'm going to use a different word for the beginning of CV, what happened there. I'm going to call that, for giggles, I'm going to call it carnivorous. Isn't it funny how you can interchange the words with what started at 2019 with the letters that are in carnivorous? It's kind of funny, isn't it? God told me a long time ago to stop eating the animals, and I advised you to do the same. Nobody wanted to listen. Everybody thought I was judging. It didn't have anything to do with any of that. Sammy, you are so loud. You sound like a warthog and not a bully. He is so adorable, though. Okay, so basically, my whole life has been a test. And then after that, it was the bank. Again, to see how much ambition I had and to see how easily bought I could be. So our whole lives, a lot of us, especially if we were surrounded by people on the other team or in the other kingdom, our whole lives have been nothing but a test. So again, I gave you the first disclaimer. The next one is, do I believe in these things? Yes and no. I believe that people can use their reptilian brain. That means you're based. It means you are a Neanderthal. It means that you only care about the material and the physical. That is a metaphor. When somebody says you're using your reptilian brain, it's a metaphor. And it means you're being a predator, basically. But do I believe in actual reptilians? That's a funny question. Yes and no. And as we go through this, you'll get my personal answer, I guess. But real quick, I got to tell you a part of my testimony because it has everything to do with the royal family and this topic. So in 2016, 2017, before everything kicked off for me, I was selling makeup online. As I told you all, I got really lost into vanity. And I had a team of people that I worked with selling makeup, and I would talk to them every day. They were only online friends. I only knew what they told me about themselves. Keep that in mind. There was this girl named Laura. That name keeps coming up in my testimony, and she was from the UK. And one day, we talked every day. She was super cool, super legit, and I was coming back to God at this time. Like, I was starting to come back to God. Mind you, I'd only known this girl online for about 2 months. And we've talked about everything at this point, like Amy Winehouse, Sam Smith, from music to culture and a little bit of politics. But I asked her the one day, I said, have you heard how, they've actually banned certain people? Like, can you guys look up David Icke? Do you know who that is and what he says about the royal family? And I laughed. I said, LOL. And we talked voice chats too. I'm like, this is so funny to me. I said, how do you deal with that? Like, what do you think of that? This is your country. I was genuinely curious. I wanted to know, what she thought of the topic. Let me tell you that after that, she says to me, her only response was, wow, you've really changed. And that was all she said. Now, mind you, again, I've only known this girl 2 months. And that's when things started happening. I do believe somebody high up sent somebody to, my area just to mess with me. This tattoo man, this Diablo, this guy who called himself the fallen angel, and my life's been a mess ever since. Now, have I seen a reptilian? No. I've not actually seen a lizard person. I used to love, I've had lizards as pets. I've loved them. But I've never actually seen one. No. Do people behave like based Neanderthal, lizard-brained predator people? Absolutely, every day. I see it all the time when I was working at the bank and saw men in suits every day. And I see it every day still. They wear badges. I call them meatheads affectionately. You can call them whatever you choose. I have no fear of this because it's laughable to me. I know where I stand, I walk in victory, but not everybody knows that. And it took me a long time to get to this place. But when this topic came up in my life before, my life went to hell in a handbasket. So I'm going to be very balanced when I talk about this topic. But the fact that people came after me just for saying that proves that there's something to it, possibly. So I would just ask that we go through this information objectively. I found it free on the internet, and we're going to take a look at it. Now, I got to tell you what I searched, the terms I searched. I searched up because, again, I told you everybody in my town has changed. I get a little tired of it, and people are like, well, all you need is prayer. Look, I'm the first to say words have power, especially mine these days. When they restrict your body, it is amazing the things your mind will learn how to do and how it kind of rewires itself. But I'm not going to give away too much there. Those who have ears to hear will hear what I'm saying there. That's why I talk a lot about disciplining yourself so that when it comes down to it, you're prepared. When you start understanding that the world is not what you thought. Okay, so I searched. Is prayer enough? Yes and no. People will say, well, you're superstitious. You believe in magic. Look, the whole Old Testament is full of magic. If you put Moses beside Gandalf, they both look exactly the same. What is the difference between these men in robes with hoods and staffs? Is their intention, is their heart. That's why Christ came to tell us these things. God looks at the heart. It's about how you operate. It's not about what you do. It's about why you're doing it. Are you doing it from love? Are you doing it with a loving intention? So if you put Moses, a picture of Moses, next to a picture of Gandalf, they both look exactly the same. Aaron's vest was full of gemstones to protect him from the radiation of the Ark of the Covenant. But now they tell you that gemstones are wicked and evil. I'm telling you, they took a part of our power away from us. These things protected us. People knew this, okay? God gives us tools to use. The earth is full of things that we use for medicine and for food and sustenance and for shelter. It's the same thing, okay? So I'm not going to argue with people about some of these things. If you don't know where I stand by now, then you're apparently just not listening. And I don't mean to be rude by that. I mean that sincerely. We finish taking my mushroom here and we'll get started. And no, it's not psychedelic. All right, so I looked up. Oh, sorry. I looked up Reptilian Kryptonite. Now, if you know what Kryptonite is, it's the thing that works against Spider-Man. So I wanted to find basically a reptilian repellent. Why was I looking this up? Because I did the same thing with Nephilim a couple of years ago. Those of you that were on the main channel will remember. I found a set of books, and these books told me that these beings, whether they were, and prepare yourself, whether they were of the vampire bloodline of the Nephilim or the quote-unquote reformed Nephilim, who apparently live in the Yellowstone caldera. Again, this is a book. And it told me that they don't like vinegar. And that's a common thing around the internet. And they fed Jesus vinegar. And vinegar was also brought up in the death of Max Spears. And I have reason to believe somehow my story is related to him. My aunt once referred to a story like his as him being my uncle. And anyway, moving on. She didn't use his name, but she described his passing. Anyway. Vinegar and lavender, it said, were repellents for Nephilim. So I tried for 3 years, 3 seasons to grow my own lavender. I could not do it. Not inside, not outside, nowhere in this house, around this house could I have regular full-grown lavender. Mind you, I could grow anything else. I found out that I'm a grower. During the CV and when my life went to hell, I worked on my skills, and I suggest everyone else do the same. Okay, so moving on. I looked up Reptilian Kryptonite, and I found a plethora of things. So I'm going to start you where I started, okay? And I'm going to share the screen. Now, if you want to watch along, you can. You don't have to. But I will tell you now there are certain words that I'm not going to say. Sometimes you might want to look at the screen. All right. Now, this is Reddit. This is where I started. And you're going to be like, what? Honestly, this is where I started. Now, I haven't figured out yet because I have to do it live and I don't want you guys to have to do this with me. I haven't figured out yet how to get rid of the little camera box so you can see the whole screen. And I haven't figured out how to see the chat when I go to the screen I'm sharing so I can read off of that screen so I can see it full size and scroll for you guys to follow along. So if anyone knows how to do that, that'd be great if you'd post in the comments. And please, for the sake of the algorithm, throw a hi or something into the comment section for me. So I searched the term reptilian kryptonite, and this is what come up. This is from 11 years ago, but it's still up, and I want to read it to you because this is how I opened this most recent rabbit hole. And again, when my spirit tells me to do something, I'm obedient these days. And when it told me to look up reptilian kryptonite and to go back to the topic of reptilians, because of a story I heard, which I'm going to go to after this, I listened. And I found a book you guys aren't going to like because it's about the CV and it's about 2019, allegedly from a long time before all of this started. Yes, I know I have high CPU usage. I'm going to close some of these momentarily. That way. There we go. That should help. Okay. So it says, did you guys know there's a magic word to unmask reptilians? I was reading Thoth's Emerald Tablets, which are really, really interesting, and I saw this, and needless to say, I was a little freaked out. So this is a section from the Emerald books of Thoth, the Atlantean, and he allegedly was a Christ archetype. He resurrected, but he did it with a device, and the Atlanteans were high-tech people. Now, when they show Atlanteans, most people will think of like the Wizard of Oz, the Emerald Kingdom. That's what they want you to see. But in your mind, I want you to see Dark City. Because if it's a city of people who are falsely reincarnating and doing these things, that is going to do something to your soul after a time, to your spirit and your compassion and your heart. Maybe. But anyways, I think it's more like Dark City. So it says, far in the past, before Atlantis existed, men there who delved into darkness using dark magic, calling up beings from great deep below us. Now remember, this is Thoth the Atlantean, so it's a little, the language to us today sounds backwards, but it's actually proper English. Forth came they into this cycle. So he's saying there were men who practiced the dark arts, and it brought something from below into our realm, into this life cycle. Black goo, anyone? It says, formless were they, so they didn't have a body. Formless were they of another vibration, existing unseen by the children of earthmen. Only through blood could they have formed being. Only through man could they live in the world. That right there is a breadcrumb. Only through blood could they have formed being. When people use blood in rituals, it is to call up these or summon these or conjure these other beings. Blood is the currency through which they travel. Blood is the doorway. Blood opens the portal. Please understand, I am not condoning violence. I'm a pacifist. I do not own any thing that is covered by our Second Amendment in my home. I do not bear any arms. I do not consent to them being in my house for what I hope is obvious reasons at this point in time. I have been abused by these individuals. The last thing I need is something like that in one of their hands. And now he's a felon, so that's not allowed. And yes, I say these things for a reason, so that I am covered in a way. So only through blood, like the blood over intent, I did a video on that and why that was very, very bad. And that's just one of the reasons we're seeing the things we're seeing today. So those two things, only through blood and only through man could they live in this world. In ages past were they conquered by masters, capital M, like Jesus, like Buddha, like Muhammad. In ages past were they conquered. And now this is who he's referring to. I'm not going to get in a divinity argument about Christ. Let's just read. Driven below to the place whence they came. So it says these masters, like Gandalf, drove them back under the ground, right? So obviously they're not good to have around. But some there were who remained. So some of them stayed here, hidden in spaces and plains unknown to man. They dwelt in the in-between, right? Like Bigfoot is known to do. Lived they in Atlantis as shadows, but at times they appeared among men. I, when the blood was offered, for they came to dwell among men. This is why old writings are in parables and riddles. This is why now people like me use disclaimers or sarcasm. I know God does not like sarcasm. I understand that. And he does not like a liar. But God wants the truth out more than anything. So I'm not telling you to compromise. We each have to sort out our salvation with fear and trembling. That's why it tells you that. Wow, 2.2 members. 22, there's that number again. See, these things have signatures, and they hang out with the same numbers all the time in this in the algorithm that is behind our realm. And I think that's what number stations are, but that's for another video. So they lived in Atlantis as shadows, but at times they appeared among men. When the blood was offered, ritualistically, they came to dwell among men. In the form of man, they are amongst us, all right? But only to sight were they as are men. Okay, so it's saying they look like men, but they're not men. He's talking about what I think is a hologram. So it says they're serpent-headed when the glamour was lifted. Okay, so this is, again, where my occult background comes in to help. A glamour is a very basic, and I never did any of this. I read about it. I researched about it. I never practiced these things. I just want to make that very clear. But a glamour is allegedly when a witch or someone who practices those types of things, it's very basic. You allegedly don't have to have blood for this one, but maybe I guess you do. They did it in the craft. It's when like you change your hair from red to brown, or you make yourself like the witch in Snow White, right? When she could make herself look old and haggard, or she was a beautiful queen. But they're saying that they only looked like men, that if you touch them or if you got close to them, you might know that they weren't actually men, right? Like some type of technology is masking them, like cloaking them. So crept they into the councils, aka they are in our they're in our politicians, taking forms that were like unto men. Okay, so they took like the Simpsons, where they unmasked the reptilians, slaying by their arts the chiefs of the kingdoms. Okay, so again, we have to defragment this. Slaying by their arts, what does that mean? What are their arts? This is why in this realm, to be a big musician, you have to be a witch. To be a big Hollywood like movie star, you have to be a witch. Unless you're Truman, then you're the mark. You're the only one in the movie who doesn't know you're in the movie, like me. Like I didn't know before, but I kind of know now. Haha, funny. So anyways, slaying by their arts through music, through movies, okay? The chiefs of the kingdoms, meaning the princes of hell, taking their form and ruling over men, okay? So they're using their arts as in, and politics, unfortunately, is an art form. I mean, it's a nasty con man art form, but for a con man, politics is the cream of the crop. Like you got to be really good at conning people to be a politician, because you got to please your constituents, and you got to please the policymakers, but you also got to please the ones giving you the money, the bread, right? So you got to be really smarmy. So they're killing through their arts, and the chiefs of their kingdoms are taking the form of men, and they're ruling over this. Here's the thing. I want to make this very clear throughout my whole channel. You have sovereignty. You are sovereign. They have no right to rule over us. This is why they were trying to push me so hardly to vote. They want to be over me. I believe that I don't have a husband, right? So first of all, I'm supposed to be under a man, which I'm not. Second of all, legally speaking, there's nothing they can do to me now. They can't control me. They can't hold me or bind me to a specific politician. Say if I voted for Trump and he does something heinous or nasty, then I would be a party to that. I would be an accessory to whatever it is that he starts doing. That's why I make it a practice not to vote at all. I know people are going to unsub hearing that. I don't blame you for doing it. You live this life, play this game how your conscience dictates. I can't tell you what to do that way. Now, would I like to convert people to Christ? Absolutely, because that's what's protected me through all of this. Like, that's the main thing. That's why I walk in victory. That's why I know I'm sovereign, because Christ told me. He told all of us, but nobody reads. All right. So, only by sound could their faces be seen. Now, hang on a second. Only by sound. What does that mean? Only through frequency, vibration. I believe that 5G, that all the towers we see, even though we have all these drop calls and there's towers like right across the street, I should probably look at you guys to say this, but I believe that those are a cloaking system. I believe there are a couple of things. I also believe they're an electric fence, but I'll get to that at another time. And I've talked about it ad nauseum. I believe they cloak these things. This is why people are trying to take those out. This is why you saw people doing that, because they're trying to take it out so other people will see what's around them. It's messing with the frequency in our mind. So we're seeing them. It's creating holograms essentially, but it's doing it through our actual like our brain chemistry, okay? If that makes sense. So you can only detect these things. This is what Toth is saying in his Emerald book. You can only detect these things by sound. Now, at the end of this, they say it's a specific word. I'm going to argue that that's not true. I have a reason already that I believe it's untrue, but again, you have to understand that the people doing all these things, the ones who are really fighting for Satan and the Satanic Kingdom to rule over men, they will tell you they're going to accuse us of what they are. So they're going to accuse us of being the Reptilians. They're going to accuse us of being whatever it is they're doing. So there are people on this side who look like they're the quote unquote good guys, but they're not, okay? Most of them can't say the name of Jesus. They can't abide the name of Jesus. They can't look at the name of Jesus. They can't hear scripture like man is not fed man does not live by bread alone, but by every word of God, right? They go running. And these days I allow God to fight my battles because I'm pretty tired, y'all, but I do this to try and do my part. And, you know, we are revolutionists of a sort. And again, I'm a pacifist. Please learn poetic language. And that's the thing. This is why Christ spoke in parables. These beings, these other beings, they have no concept of poetry. They don't understand art. I don't understand how they understand symbolism, to be honest with you. Like, they use that as their words. I think there's a reason for that. They use symbols, right? And if you figure out what the symbol of one is that's hounding you, you can seal it with that. That's why it's, you know, it's a good thing, bad thing type of thing. It's their kryptonite. It's also their power, right? And that's why they don't tell you which sigil goes with which being. But anyways, we're getting off track. So they're telling you that only by a sound can you unmask this glamour that they do to fool people, to walk amongst us, right? This hologram technology spell, whatever. Sought they from the kingdom of shadows to destroy man and rule in his place. So they want to beat us out. But Adam was higher than the serpent. Please don't forget that. It has to be your choice to be under these beings in the hierarchy. This is why they want you to vote, because they are not of mankind. They are not human. But if you vote for them, if you put your name down, that you want that man to speak for you and act for you, then they have you. And I think at this time, they're going to make good on that. They're going to come, and I'm going to use gambler analogies again. They're going to come collect on that debt. They're going to say, you signed your name right here, right? You're a part of this, so you're coming with us. And again, I'm not judging you. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just explaining what God has been showing me through all of this. I was not smart. I was deaf, dumb, and stupid. I thought I was smart. I was kind of book smart, and I was clever, right? And I was creative. but I had no concept of what was going on in the spirit realm. Even though I had been raised and catechized, they tell you there's evil out there, but they don't tell you it actually has a physical form and that it can affect you this way. I learned real quick, if you watched yesterday's video, don't play with God. Don't take the name of Jesus and keep trying to have your foot in both pools, because God will come for you. He will send the demons. And that's because he loves you. And I know to most people in this world that does not make sense, right? I get it. I do. Okay, so it says, so I was like that. A word. Oh, wait. It says, yet beware. Let me start over. But know ye, the masters were mighty in magic, able to lift the veil from the face of the serpent. So let's look at that real quick. This cat is, he copied this right from the Book of Thoth. So the word masters is capitalized, and so is the veil, okay? So they're saying that the masters who were mighty in magic were able to unmask the reptilian or the serpent-faced men who walked amongst men, and they were able to send him back to his place. They kicked him out of the garden, but they came to man and taught him the secret, the word. Oh, came they to man and taught him the secret, the word that only a man can pronounce. Swift then they lifted the veil from the serpent and cast him forth from the place among men. Yet beware, the serpent still lives in a place that is open at times to the world. The serpent still lives in a place that is open at times to the world. What does that mean? Well, that it's cyclical. At a certain time, the serpent's something opens up and lets the serpent out, right? And we know this from Revelation. Does it have to keep repeating itself, though? Like, really? I feel like I've done all this already. Like, I have specific memories now that, like, so, that, again, that's another video. These gateway tapes, that whole conversation seems to have been really opening. I don't know what other word to use. Anyway, unseen, they walk among thee in the places where the rites have been said. Okay, so this is dodgy. This is shady. Okay, so I'm gonna break this down because this has everything to do with Diddy. I can't believe I just said that. I don't cover celebrities. Like, they're not my jam. They're not my thing. Unless you're saying one celebrity play two parts, like Black China, and Ice Spice, then I will say something to unmask. But otherwise, I don't go in that pool. Other people are better at, like, tea and stuff. I don't gossip like that. But what is this saying? So the serpent men still live in a place that is open at times to the world. Unseen, they walk in places where rites have been said. That reminds me of, like, catacombs, basements of crooked, corrupt churches. Yes, Catholic church, all kinds of churches, okay? Freemasonry rites, like, what is that guy's name? The Solomon rites, the Hiram Abif. Sorry if I'm offending anyone by my mispronunciation, but that's what that reminds me of. So it's saying that they're able to walk among us in these places. Again, as time passes onward, shall they take the semblance of man. And it says again, they will take the shape of men. All right, now this is the guy who posted it. It says, so I was like, a word? Thoth doesn't mention the word in the tablet, so what is it? I started to Google search and found the word is apparently Kininigan. Not sure how they figured out that was the word. The book I found, it mentioned the Emerald Tablets of Thoth by the Atlantean Doriel. Not sure how he figured out the word. But apparently, if you corner a reptilian and tell him to say the word, he won't be able to. Or if you say it to them, they turn. Or some cool stuff like that. Okay, so let's go down here because I want to show you what I found interesting. Comment sections are beautiful. Okay, so this guy talks about things for this post. I've been researching this stuff lately, and he talks about a daydream. Now, why is he talking about a daydream of all things? I think, again, this is how people get bits of truth out. And he's talking about reptilians in business. So we're going to keep going. Now, this is Bada Bong 420. This guy is in the military, allegedly. Check this out. It says, any intel is better than no intel at all. For those of you who think reptilians can't be real, you need to see it. live to change your views. I think it's BS how you mock someone who tries to help a community. It is you who needs to do more researching and open your eyes. Might I suggest researching the oral history of Africa, particularly the Zulu tribe for starters, and work your way from there. He used the wrong there. Zulu tribe, voodoo, hoodoo. They, I think they actually like have witches among them that are shapeshifters, allegedly. But again, we'll get there. And this is gonna end up probably being like 2 videos. I just want to see. Hey guys, saw a video of the Italians diffusing vinegar to clear the chemtrail haze. Yes, it also does that, but I believe it has multiple purposes. I have to tell you again, the screen is black. I've heard that word trick before for the Reptilians, Osiris Hades. Huh. Interesting pagan name you chose there. Thanks for telling me about the black screen. Sometimes it takes me a minute to to get where I need to be. All right, so I'm gonna go back over here. Thanks for being here, guys. So I'm gonna go somewhere else. Check this out. Anyone who saw Conan or knows Cull. Now this opened up a big rabbit hole into like Marvel Universe and Spider-Man. But Spider-Man has the whole Venom thing going on, and the Spider-Woman is mentioned in Hopi prophecy in our real world. Okay, it's so weird how fiction is overlapping fact here. And again, I don't know if we need to just like get rid of all forms of media, chuck them, and be done with them. I don't know if like putting them into the quantum computer is a good idea. And I ask you, what do you guys think? Are the stories that we write and put out there coming to life? That's one option. Number 2, is the media just using shows like The Simpsons and whatnot as our news to keep that steady dose of fear going, right? Or number 3, well, I mean, is there a 3? Or 3, they're giving us clues, right? There are people trying to help us and giving us clues. So again, you got to take any information that's mainstream with a grain of salt, but check this out. Months later, when I came here to post, straight out of Cull, a much overlooked great character by the great Robert E. Howard. Okay, so I'm going to pronounce this for you. Ka nama ka lajarama. Layorama. Now, I don't know if the J is hard or not, but that's how I'm reading it. Ka nema ka lajarama. Now, we can look that up as far as pronunciation goes. Hold, please, I have my phone with me. Let me check it out. Because I did look it up. And I could play it for you guys to hear from my phone. So hang on a second. Let me see. Ka nema ka kea. See, that's how I have a problem with Mat too. The rules of Mat, the Egyptian. Is it Mayat or Ma'at? Ma'at or Mayat? Is this Ka, Kea, and then Lajarama? Yes. I want to see how you say it. How do you say it? Merlin the Sphere Keeper, Ka Nema Ka Lajarama. Okay, we're gonna have to look at that video. But I'm gonna share it to my community page right now so I don't lose it. Hold, please. It's nice to have a laptop and be able to do this from now on.
The Shadow Kingdom. 1. A king comes riding.
Okay, so that's his book. I want to know how to pronounce it. All right, so hang on a second. Are they not going to tell us? Oh, how ridiculous. I'll put it into Google because it came up yesterday, I think. There. Marvel fandom. Okay, so we're going to go to this page, actually, because I want you to see. Okay, I'm going to read this to you because I don't know if we're going to go to this page or not. Hold on. All right, so I'm going to take this and copy it, and we're going to check out. I want you to see what I found about this, and then I have to show you a book. No, don't do that. Okay. Look, you stinker. Which one do I want? No. I'll go here. I have things pulled up. I have a book pulled up that I want you guys to see, and I couldn't decide which. Ka-hema, Ka-L-A-J-E-R-A-M-A. And then we're going to look at a model who disappeared in 2009 outside of a nightclub, talking about the royal family and these beings. I told you, life got weird after I just asked somebody in the UK, like, hey, is that really a thing over there? Like, do they actually censor your news? And do you not know who David Icke is? And yeah, it was bad. So again, this is a topic I'm very careful about. And I know Sherry Schreiner, I've done videos on her. Look, she told you who she was with her last name, Schreiner. Okay, that's first. So this is why this is a topic that I'm very careful about, because people will give you truth, but not the whole truth, right? So I'm going to share this page. I want to check this out. What was that? I don't know what that was. Okay, so we're going to go to this fandom page. Check this. Okay, so this is Marvel fandom. Get out of here. Ads are terrible these days. I never affected them. When men were the slaves of the serpent folk, the phrase couldn't be pronounced by them and affected them, disrupting their shape-shifting, weakening them, or simply allowing humans to discern friend from foe simply by being able or not to utter it. For those days in the pre-cataclysmic age, the Hyborian age, and finally the modern age. Okay, so the capabilities, also spelled that other way, was a phrase that gave power over the serpent men, as it enabled them to distinguish true humans from the serpent folk who were unable to pronounce it nor stand to hear it. I tried this yesterday. All I'm going to say is I don't think the word is actually Kaninigan. I think maybe somebody put that out there just as disinformation. Maybe it is true, but when I said this one, it actually produced some type of reaction. And so, yeah, but we need to learn how to say it right. It says it also had effects on certain serpent-related objects, such as the serpent tiara, who hosted a bound minion of the serpent race and could turn into a giant demon snake and return to its inert form. Yikes. Added to a weapon blow, the charm would force the ghost slaves to the snake men to vanish. The phrase had seemingly no effect on Tulsa Doom, an elder race sorcerer, an ally of the serpent men, who could himself utter the sentence. So if you're high enough, you're able to say it, is what they're saying there. And this tells you where all that came from. Okay, so we're going to get out of this. And I want to look at something else. Now, again, these are bits. These are breadcrumbs. I'm showing you how I found some things. And first, I'm showing you the most... I'll show you the biggest thing at the end, is what I'm trying to say there. Okay. So that should help. I'm getting rid of some of this. Okay, so this is weird. This is really strange. Now, I heard this on a compilation video yesterday, and this is what started my whole search again, because all these things are related. They always relate this to, like, the trafficking of human beings. And there's got to be a reason for it, right? Like, why are they tying all these things together, right? Like, what does it have to do with? But this is wild, because she talks about, like, cannibalism and everything. I don't know which article to go first. We'll go here real quick. Oh my gosh, it's unavailable. This story is unavailable. Did you see that? You saw the heading, right? Here, I'll show you. Look, this story is unavailable. Do you see how fast they scrub things? If they know you're looking. All right, so let's try another link. Let's get rid of that one. So the MSN one right here that I tried to click on, it says the case of her name is Gabriela Rico Jimenez has resurfaced after being told on the Mexico Unexplained podcast. The 21-year-old vanished in 2009 after making wild accusations. Okay, let's go. This one is from 2024. This is pretty recent, but I'd like to go to something older. Oh, geez. March 13th, 2023. 3 American women have been missing for weeks after going to Mexico. The FBI is investigating. 550. There's 55, that number. And that's allegedly true. Like, that's the thing. Like, they don't tell you. Like, it's dangerous to don't go chasing waterfalls, man, in this world. We think we've got it down, and women think like we're independent and all this stuff. But there's literal monsters out there, like literal monsters that want to gobble you up. Nobody believes it, but where do people go? Where do all the missing people go? If we got cameras on everybody, where are they all going? They're feeding something or somebody. Or maybe it's like Snowpiercer, and the smaller ones are able to keep the engine going on the yellow submarine that we find ourselves inside of if we listen to the Beatles. Like, for real. Huh. Oh, wow. Missing Instagram model. She was found in Santa Cruz del Valle. Okay, let me put this gal's name in here so I want to get and see if we can find an old link, and I might throw her name into Reddit. Gabriela Rico Jimenez. I have a cousin with that last name, Jimenez. Let's see. Gabriela Rico. I-M-I-N-E. Reptilian. Cannibalism. Missing model. All right, so I'm searching that in Reddit real quick. All right, this one is from 3 years ago. So let's share this tab. Now, again, Reddit's pretty good because you don't need to use a Wayback Machine. Stuff is just there already. Per the Fair Use Act, we are actually allowed to share video. This is why you have React channels today. So I really don't want to have to argue with anyone about any of that anymore. If it wasn't for me, people wouldn't know to even put the fair use thing in their description bars. It's like nothing but it's like something else did take over because people aren't behaving like people. It says this was a famous Spanish model, Gabriela Rico Jimenez, who was invited to an Illuminati party screaming in front of a luxury hotel. What I find weird, okay, it flat out said in what I was listening to, and it's probably this link, is that can I play it without sound? Is that they say the last time she was seen was with the police. They say that she's in some type of insane asylum now. That is so like, God, that's so convenient. Like you know, it's always women. Nobody sees that yet. We're the ones who tell the truth. We're the ones who are in tune with our spirit. We're the ones who know something's going on. So they block us all up. I do not consent, man. And in case she don't know any better, I do not consent on her behalf. Oh, wow. She says, come over here, you vermin. Wait. All right, I'll read it to you. I'll read this video to you. Liar, a-hole, you knew everything. So she's pointing to somebody, yelling at him, saying, liar, a-hole, you knew everything. This is outside the hotel. 2009. Come over here, you vermin. And then it's unintelligible, and she says something about the Queen of Scotland. and the Queen of England. They killed a lot of people. Death of that class of humans. Get out of here. Get out of here. They ate humans. Those disgusting. They ate humans. I didn't know of anything. I mean, of the endings, yes, but they ate humans. Humans. Oh, she's so distressed. Humans smell like meat. You're not taking me anywhere until we clear all this up. You're not taking me. You people had me there. So you could make a copy of me? No, let go of me. Holy cow. Okay. What do we say about all that? Can I come check in on the comments just to see what you are, if you're talking? If there's anyone here, I don't know. This person says 3 years ago, I believe her. This other person says, I'd be more surprised if the modern aristocracy wasn't doing barbaric stuff behind the scenes, just like their ancestors did before them. But how long are we going to let it go on? People say God allows things. We're allowing it. This is our realm. God gave us this realm. Like, we're allowing it. Okay. Yep. Now I see something. It was blank for about the first 35 minutes. I'm sorry to hear that. I checked it and it said it was sharing. Wow. The Marvel Universe is the future of humanity. It's the second pronunciation. Okay, so it's Mayat. Thank you, Osiris Hades, if you're still here. Mayat. Mayat? Mayat. Mayat or Mayat? Mayat. Probably Mayat, right? Okay. Cool. All right. Thank you for being here, guys. And again, if you like the content, give the channel a thumbs up or give the video a thumbs up. I don't ask, like, the channel's probably not going to ever be monetized. I'm not, like, under any delusions like this. But, okay, let's see what the comments have to say. Because, again, sometimes you'll find links and stuff. And I would like to know a little more of this backstory. How she got to the party, where they say she's at now, should be public record. We should be able to search that up. Remember these L eats. I find it funny that they call themselves a name that sounds like that. It has the L in front of it and it says eats. L eats what? Remember the elites will literally serve you grasshoppers while they feast on literal human beings. Remember who we're fighting. All of the people at the hospital made fun of her for her claims. This type of outburst from a sane individual needs to be taken seriously and not put into a mental illness category immediately. Here, I could not agree more. Like, really, when somebody first finds out, like, the types of things that go on in this world, like me, when I first found out about, let me be careful about my words here. When I first found out about this doctor that made child sensuality a common thing. He was the pioneer for sensualizing. I'm using a different word there. Put an X where the N is. He sensualized children, and he was a doctor, and he studied child harmers. But how do you study them? He couldn't study them unless he watched them in action. So it's he was a perverted voyeur with a doctor's license. This is why these people are dangerous. They tell us that their piece of paper makes them smarter, better, or above us, and it does not. They do all of these things. They're tricks, right? The white coats, the certificates, the better clothes, right? The money, the things that money can buy, so that you actually believe you're the reason for the problem. You actually then will walk to the guillotine willingly because you believe you're the problem. Meanwhile, we have sovereignty over these things. If you tell these things to do something, they're supposed to carry it out and listen to you. Like, legit. That's how it is. And this is why they suppress my channel, because I know that. They cannot force you to do anything. Now, in the tribulation, when they, we are handed over, that's when things will change. Possibly. Not for everybody, but for some. But again, is it going to be people who simply don't know to say, I do not consent? Right? Okay, so it says here, don't forget that insane asylums were first built and populated with sane individuals who knew the truth and opposed of it. Right? I did a video on Typhoid Mary. If you do not know who she is still, you need to write it down and look up Typhoid Mary. That is what they will do to people who tell the truth. It was easy to do to her and railroad her because she, like me, had no man above her. She had no husband. She had no authority over her, which made her dangerous. She had no one controlling her. So the only thing they could do was restrict her until such a time as she left this realm. Now it says the pain in her voice is chilling and heartbreaking. Even worse is that people will laugh and go about their business, never to truly investigate. That's my problem too. Like she's suffering here. Like this is torment. I know because I've been in this position. I want to see if I can play just a few seconds. You're allowed to play 30 seconds. I just want to hear right here. Wow, poor thing. All right, so let's go down here and click on this. I just want to know a little more about the backstory. This is beyond crazy. This lady is clearly not lying, screaming about horrifying things she saw. I believe the same thing for that thing you'll find in like Mysteries of the Internet, some of those compilation. A woman in LA or San Fran, I forget which, like 3 years ago, was found wandering on the streets, and of course they had video of it. You know, nobody's asking that though. Nobody's asking where are all these videos coming from. Are you getting consent from these people to have their images and spread them around and monetize them? Like they're monetizing us through CCTV, which none of us consented to. And we're a party to it because we watch it and consume it. Do you see how this all is working? All right, let's share this. What happened to Gabriela Rico Jimenez? This event took place in August of 2009 in Monterrey, Nuevo Leon, Mexico, in front of a hotel located at Ocampo Street, in between the avenue. I can't say that, I don't think. Coatemoc and Pino Suarez. The news broadcast features a young woman named Gabriela Rico Jimenez screaming in front of a luxury hotel. She repeatedly pleads for her freedom and claims she was held against her will. My God, it sounds like me. I went through so much, like very similar things to this. But I will not be like, I stand firm, man. You're not going to take me anywhere unless God allows it. She also makes claims of murder and cannibalism. And you also have to know, like, where you're freaking out at. You know what I mean? Sometimes they just don't care. If they know it's not on camera and nobody is seeing it, they don't care. Especially a small person like me. They honestly have no reason to get rid of me. If they get rid of me, it'll bring more attention to my story and not less, right? She also makes claims of murder and cannibalism and drops some very big names in her accusations. Most public outbursts such as this can be attributed to mental illness or substance abuse, but Gabriela's claims are consistent and somewhat coherent as she speaks with such horror and conviction. I feel compelled to further consider her credibility. I agree as well. Oh, wow. So we have a whole transcript here. I've posted the transcript. Narrator. Let's hear what this young girl was shouting in the street. Gabriela, I wanted my freedom. Monterrey freed me, but it cost me a lot of work. I was in Mexico City for a year and 4 months. All this began in mid-2001. So this is 2009 and she's speaking. I barely remember. They were young and powerful and they killed them. I've been knocking on doors. What I wanted was my freedom. I want my freedom. My God, she sounds like me. Carlos Slim knew about this. I want my freedom. It hurts my soul that they took him away. So he's another like high profile, I guess, from down there. I saw him mentioned in the story that I watched. Police arrive and begin to approach her. So this is after like she's talking to this person. Leave me alone. They have already taken me to the police station, and there they told me that they knew nothing. They took me to the general hospital. You were there. She's telling the officer, you were there. Go get the, she's probably saying, go get the medical records. Go get the something or other. She's probably telling him to GTFO. You killed Moreno, allegedly. They told me, who did they kill? The Queen of England? The Queen of Germany? Did they kill the princesses and Mickey Mouse? It was also him. What? They told me, who did they kill? The Queen of England? The Queen of Germany? Did they kill the princesses and Mickey Mouse? It was also him. What? Nothing is going to come here. The people where you come from are crazy. They killed a lot of people. Death to that kind of human. Go away. They ate humans. Disgusting. They ate humans. I wasn't aware of anything of the murders, see. But they ate humans. Humans. They smell like human flesh. Sadly, I know that smell. And I smelled it from my local Burger King, and I told y'all when it was happening. So please don't tell me I didn't. You are not going to take me until this is clarified. You already took me there. Let me go. Narrator, this is the sad reality of young Gabriela Rico Jimenez, who you saw a moment ago tried to attack the police officer who managed to take her. Wow. And they say, like, that was it. 2013, what happened to her? She was helped by DIF, helped by police in Monterrey, and after she was detained in jail by regional police, was sent to the psychiatric center of Buenos Aires colony, where she will stay indefinitely until she receives help and can be well cared for. Gabrielle mentions the name Carlos Slim. He is a Mexican business magnate of Lebanese descent. He is the richest man in Mexico and was the richest man in the world from 2010 to 2013. He has a son, Carlos Slim Domi, who serves as chairman of the board for his father's conglomerate company. The Moreno Gabriela claims was murdered is Juan Camilo Moreno Terrazzo, who was a Mexican politician affiliated with the PAN, National Action Party. Why do they say it backward? I don't know. And the Secretary of the Interior, the cabinet of President Felipe Calderon. He died in November 2008, Mexico City, in a Learjet crash. The government plane he was traveling in crashed into rush hour traffic under mysterious circumstances. So she's saying that wasn't an accident. Allegedly, that's what she's saying. There were 16 fatalities, all 9 people on board and 7 people on the ground passed away. Juan Camilo Moreno was 37. As President Felipe Calderon's strongman, he had been leading a government campaign against Mexico's powerful and violent drug gangs. Oh, that's convenient, no? Now they're all here in America. Thank you so much. See, that's the thing. America has a lot of enemies. Remember, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. We've got all our enemies now pointing at us. That's why it feels a whole lot like we are Israel, because we've been pretty blessed up until right now. Illuminati conspiracy theories frequently mention the British monarchy, amongst others, as well as Disney symbolism. There is also a rumor that Prince Philip, the Queen's husband, God keep him because they're passed away now, said that cannibalism is a radical but realistic solution to the problem of overpopulation. Just to corrupt our vet. They would do it just to corrupt us. Man, I'm telling you guys, don't eat that stuff. And you're going to go right out and get something. You're going to just shove what I'm saying to the side until your conscience does what it did to me and does what it did to this young girl. She says she knew about the endings, but she didn't know that they were going to then use those people as food, as Soylent Green. So remember, this is all alleged. These are all alleged conspiracy theories. This video is allegedly for entertainment purposes only. Wink, wink. Let's continue. There's a testimony of an alleged witness to Gabriela's breakdown on a Spanish language blog called The Black Manique. A law student claims to have spoken with Gabriela and gives the following account of their interaction. Now, this is a Google translation, so we know those can be a little disjointed. This is from 6/26/2015. A witness speaks after a long time. I will not reveal his name for obvious reasons. This person has told us what he experienced in the first person after approaching Gabriela with the intention of helping her. I leave your testimony. Now he says, At that time, I was in the same place where the girl was taken after being detained. I was doing my practices in that place. I'm a law graduate. I still remember her face full of despair, fear, and anguish. She felt very weary of the environment and a strange feeling. Maybe he means paranoia there, like strange as in paranoid. Anyone who's had like dark night of the soul, when you first wake up and you realize that there are child harmers out there, like that it's a real thing. Because for a long time I was like, nah, those are just lies. God wouldn't allow that to happen. There aren't people that do such a thing. Now I see, obviously I was wrong, and this is a part of my penance, and I try to do what's right now. But the mother is always blamed. Didn't you know this was going on? Or the mother brings in a boyfriend who's not the child's father, or it's the child's father, or these people are in a cult and the mother is also being drugged and put under hypnosis. Like, the women in these situations, like, we are not in these situations by consent. No one ever told, like I'm just like every other girl. I was waiting for like Prince Charming, and I wanted to have a nice little job, but I wanted to paint while my babies napped, and I wanted to take them to the park and, have this eternal childlike feeling because I was going to be a good mom. And like, just like everybody has these dreams. You don't realize that the things people say, they call them conspiracies because they don't want you listening to them. That's why they call them that. And conspiracy is not even like I told you yesterday, to conspire. You do it every day. If you make plans with your friends, you're conspiring because there's more than one of you making plans. That's all it means. Where was I? Oh, this is so sad. So it says, I approached her and asked her some questions. So this is somebody who wasn't just some random, like he was practicing and he was there for his law degree. He said, I approached her and asked her some questions, name, if she knew where she lived. She told me that we were all deceased, that we were among them, among other things rare, that simply left me paralyzed. What? Okay, see, because Google Translate is wonky. Are you guys following this? This is weird. Because remember when you ask AI and it says you have a bigger problem, you're all already dead? I did a video on that meme. Okay. After 20 minutes of being with her, some tall, well-dressed people arrived. Tall and well-dressed. That sounds like Men in Black, dude. They practically pulled me out of there. I asked them why they did this, if it was just a poor girl with a mental disorder. So he's basically saying, hey, what's the problem? I'm trying to help her. We got to get her evaluated, diagnosed. If that's all this is, then what are you doing here? Do you see how they make themselves look guilty? Ask where they were taking her. They told me that it was not my business for me to retire, meaning leave, right? Retire for the evening, meaning go away. When they left me, they stopped me and asked me what she told me. I answered them insane, and I ran away. And I told her, I said she was crazy, and I ran away. The next day, I went to the senior offices of the ministry and told them about the issue and wanted information because the girl's family requested it. They just laughed and said, really? If she does not exist, she never existed, and you do not work here. Wow, so they literally erased her. And they, just, if you've never seen, you probably never have. Back in the beginning of the internet, there was this movie with Sandra Bullock called The Net. And it talks about this exact thing, like in Jason Bourne, right? How easy it is to just get rid of someone if everything is only on digital records. And this is what they started to do with me. I believe they're still trying to do it. That's why he wants me off that bank account. And I'm not doing it, Maybe whatever it is they think they need to do. Wow, I got a shiver and left. I left everything and I left Monterey. I had a feeling that what happened those days and what the girl said was true. As I could, I left everything and got out of there. So she said, you are all deceased. Maybe she meant like, if you didn't leave, you were going to be ended. She told me that in Monterey, there's a kind of underground base where they live and regularly steal the children as food and other things. By my profession, I dare not reveal my encounter. I have family and children who depend on me, and for logical and reputation reasons, I cannot. I would like to go out and spread it to the four winds, but society would call me crazy. Although I have the marks of the attack, is a little bad back. There are nights I just cannot sleep. I have that same feeling when I saw them the first time, is like a presentiment is appreciated that they do not judge me as crazy for telling them that. Only me and those who were with me at that time know what happened. Those are monsters. At least the one who attacked me was a monster. If he found me, he would only have died since a drawing came into my hands. Okay, now that got weird. Right. Okay, so it's important you understand this. So I'm going to read this comment too. It says, people keep bringing up the fact that she's saying the Queen and Mickey Mouse were ended to prove she's having a breakdown. She's being sarcastic. I hate when, people, they are misframing these stories on purpose to make humanity look like we're stupid. The whole media needs to just fall down. The whole internet needs to just go down because it's not doing us any good at this point. This is not good. Like, all they're doing is brainwashing people and gaslighting us. And then they have bots to cover up for every one comment we make with truth, they've got like 20 comments from a bot, man. Now I got to start praying against fake, bots and stuff. Okay, anyways, people keep bringing up the fact that she's saying the Queen and Mickey Mouse were ended to prove she's having a breakdown. She's not saying that. What she was talking about, the Queen, was basically saying that they were mocking her at the hospital she was taken to. Like, she told the staff they ended him, and the people at the hospital mocked her by saying, who did they kill? The Queen? The Queen? Did they kill the princesses and Mickey Mouse? They were making fun of her. I mean, that's what she's saying. That they're making fun of her at the hospital. Right? Like, it's just ridiculous that people purposely misunderstand people. Yeah, it is a misrepresentation of what she says. Right. All right, so we're going to go. You do realize you can identify a cannibal by lips. In my home country, cannibalism is common. Not that I have tried. There's many things that indicate a cannibal. Yeah, do tell. Red spots on their arms or something. Q-root disease is very bad. Yeah, it makes them shake. Where I'm from, they go into a stage of laughter, then rage. That's all I can remember. I'm sure there is more about it on the web, though. And see, now this person is misunderstanding what's being said, too, on purpose. She didn't say the Queen was a cannibal. She was saying that she was being mocked, which I would agree with all that. Okay, so that was wild. That was a little wild. And I just want to... Just want to click on it one more time and see if there's anything. Okay, so here's the video. We're going to go here. I'm going to get rid of this one. And I will show you guys. Whoops. I got to go back to here. Sorry. There. There. Okay. And over here. Carlos was a large financier for the film The Sound of Freedom. Wow. Good catch, Tam. Thank you for that. Interesting. Okay. All right. So let's check out another link or two here, and then I'm going to show you what I found, which again, do we think it is Kaninigan or the Kanamaka Kea Lajarama? Well, again, you'll have to test it. Should we do a test? Should we go out and say these two phrases and see which one actually affects people? Now, I think it has something to do with the frequency, too. We know that everything has to do with frequency, right? 5G is like cloaking, all that stuff. So I kind of want to say that you'd have to play the right notes, which is a really big thing for opening portals, and that's in the movie Masters of the Universe, which is actually connected to Cole in a weird sort of way. So it's so wild how all these things are connected. I just want to see if there's anything else. All right, let me go to the page I'm looking for, and I'll take you guys there in a second. Just give me a minute. Okay, so yeah, because the people who would label her crazy are part of the grand scheme. They absolutely have no human empathy. They are parasites, and they are police, judges, politicians, celebrities, in whatever power position exists. It's true. I've been skeptical on the Adrena Chromo claims, but the more it's mescaline. But the more stuff like this I see, the more I think there is truth to it. It says, you see what this says? Blank blank was real. Take a look at the emails. I need a blank for about 2 hours. Now, they're attributing it to child harming, but we're seeing the word gate used a lot too in a lot of strange places. And Tom Hanks said the gate is open with Charlize Theron on the stage at the Golden Globes in 2019 or 2018. And she about freaked out. It was the weirdest thing. At the very end, she says they wanted to make a copy of her celebrity cloning. Now, I don't know why they would copy people like that. Eat the rich. She went missing. Wow, what a shame. All right. I think the second one has more validity to it, the Kanamaka Lajarama thing. And I'm going to get to another page. Okay. So this is from Merlin the Sphere Keeper. Looks like it might tell you all about this, so we could check that out. It gave men the power over serpent men. I just want to see if there's any more information, and then I'm going to go to this book that I found, Serpent Men, Cthulhu Universe. First, no serpent man could pronounce the words Ka Nema Ka Lajarama. That and Kaninigan are completely different. They're two completely different words. Is a shibboleth in the form of a spoken phrase which is uttered in order to identify whether a person is a human being or a serpent man in a magical disguise. How do you say it? Hold, please. Shibboleth. It sounds like a talisman, basically. It can't. This phrase referred to by the serpents as it's called the words that unweave. It causes them pain. That's what I wanted to find. It's called the words that unweave, which means it unweaves their spell, their cloaking spell to cloak themselves, right? And this is what I know it looks corny, these old websites that we all made ourselves, but check this out. Classification, elder spawn, location, base of operations, unrevealed. Deceased serpent men dwell in a limbo dimension that holds their souls, which is what we're told about the Nephilim. They're from the Hyborian era, unknown land, pre-cataclysmic, forbidden swamp, Valusia. So they're from all these different alleged fictional universes. Known members. Amentas, Russell. Okay, I'm not reading all those names. We see them all. There they are. Affiliations. Tulsa Doom, Toth, Amon, men, serpents. Okay. The enemies of the serpent men are the celestials, the angels, right? Mitra, spider people, mankind in general are their enemies. Amazons of Queen Nzinga, Brule the Spear Slayer, Conan, Khan Defenders, Doctor Strange. So this is bled into every fake universe, alleged fake universe. What if what we watch on the screen is just another world, but it's a parallel dimension? And like the actors and celebrities we see are just shapeshifters, like acting for them and pretending they're getting awards. But what if it's like real lives we're watching play out? The cult of the serpent, order of the serpent, the snake that speaks, serpent ones, sons of Set. That is the big one today that we are dealing with. When you're seeing all this ancient Babylonian stuff come back, you want to look into the religion or the temple of Set. I think it is an offshoot of Aleister Crowley, of some of his shenanigans. It says they may possess greater than normal human strength, which, yeah, I know that's true. If these things are real, I probably know them. Because again, I'm basically in Jericho, where Rahab was. I'm just chilling in the middle of all this. Although they are not particularly talented fighters, most notable, however, is that their shape-shifting powers enable them to assume the form of other beings. However, if a serpent man is killed, he automatically reverts to his normal form. Can you imagine that? That's probably why they cover up some murders on TV. That's probably why you don't see certain parts of it, or you don't get to see the accused person right away or whatever. They probably have to like re-indoctrinate these people. They probably like, you know what I mean? If you're in a moment of self-defense and you go to defend yourself and you realize that this thing isn't what it looks like. A curious limitation of the serpent men is that they cannot speak the words Ka nema ke alajarama. This phrase, referred to by the serpent as the words that unweave, causes them pain and universally forces a disguised serpent to reveal his true nature. In some cases, it has proven sufficient to actually drive off a squad of serpent men. Apparently, the phrase can only affect the serpent men if they can hear it. And on at least one occasion, a group of serpent men were also able to avoid exposure by plugging their ears with wax. Somebody told me to buy earplugs when all this started, but I think it was for a different reason. Serpent men also apparently despise the cross. Imagine that. But this may have to do with its Mithra associations and not its Christian associations. I don't know about that. Serpent men's souls upon the death of the body do not go to the usual afterlife dimensions, such as hell, Niflheim, Hades, the various hell dimensions, and so forth, but rather to a bleak limbo dimension. Some serpent men can return from this dimension to possess the living. Sounds a lot like the Nephis, at least with the help of conjurers on Earth. Whether or not this dimension is the same place as the pocket dimension that Set dwelled in until recent times remains unknown. In addition, those who were slain by serpent men lost their souls to them. The serpent men could reanimate their spirits and in some cases their bodies as well as needed. It would appear that only a small number of magically powered serpent men could accomplish either of these feats, as they were not commonly taken advantage of. Hold, please. I credit my baptism a lot with protecting me because I strayed from the church. I sinned just as much. Well, maybe not just as much, but I sinned like the people around me. I credit my baptism with sealing me from allowing these things to do certain things to me, basically to use me like a sock puppet. So I would recommend to pretty much everybody, if you can be baptized, go do it. Be baptized. And again, this is fictional stuff. I'm not in charge of what you receive or believe. That's not up to me. It's not my job to tell you what you should believe. Right? So I'm going to skim this real quick. I just want to. Remains unclear if there is literal offspring. Origin to prime Green Haven. This to their ancestor by the time. So this is Adam and Eve right here. They're talking about. Okay, so that was... Oh, the spider people managed to steal a statue sacred to the Serpent Men, a jeweled bust of a snake's head. Serpent Men prophets foretold of the age of heroes. This had to do with the possession of 7 heroes with the power to conquer the world. Upon this happening, the souls of all dead Serpent Men would return to Earth to conquer it. However, the relics stolen by the spider people had to be returned then to aid in the conquest. Hold, please. Haven't they been putting up a lot of statues? Have they put up a statue of a snake? Because I know we've seen like a lot of weird things taking place. But the Hopi prophecy says something very similar. It says that beings that were never meant to walk the earth shall walk the earth at the end of times. You shall know it is the end because the spider queen will weave her webs upon the sky, which I kind of credit to chemtrails, right? I kind of credit that to being that, part of that. To prophecy, a parable to explain chemtrails. I'm sorry. And vinegar. I would keep vinegar in my house. Lavender. Snake-headed statue, unrevealed. What's it look like? So it looks like, oh my gosh, that's in G.I. Joe too, the Cobra King or whatever, with the jeweled eyes. 18 inches tall, was constructed out of an unidentified rock, ceramic-like material. How much you want to bet it's obsidian? It was hollow, shattering easily when thrown against the stone floor by someone. It was filled with a liquid that steamed upon exposure to room temperature and pressure. So it had to be cold. This liquid was, at minimum, unpleasant on contact with the Serpent Men. The statue was placed within the hands of the Temple of the Spiders statue, which could act against Serpent Men or presumably other non-spider beings attempted to steal it. Okay. So do they ever find it? And I know this is fiction or whatever, but I want you to see something else. I want you to check this out because, again, I try to be balanced. My disclaimers, once again, are in the description box. I am not a doctor. I am not a medical professional any longer. For that type of advice or guidance, you should seek your chosen family practitioner, okay? We're reading here. We're educating ourselves. We're learning. We're researching stuff that is publicly available online. So this is there open access to this one? Yes. This is a journal, right? A paper written by somebody in the field. Let's see. Agnesa Dixon. It was published on July 25th, 2023. Now, your job is to decide, is this A, damage control, or something else? Is this honest and genuine research this person is doing? Or is this damage control and part of covering the truth? This is why they saturate the internet, the newspapers, the radio with so much information so that you can't find the truth. The truth of matters are usually what's buried. So check this out. July of 2023, this guy wrote this paper. This paper investigates whether conspiracy theories arising during the, and I'm going to call this carnivorous. Funny how carnivorous is interchangeable with the other word. I'm going to use the word carnivorous. There are so many clues in this video. There is no excuse anymore for people to be consuming meat because you don't know what it is. There's no excuse. Look at all the missing people. Tell me where they're going. Tell me. There really is no excuse. This paper investigates whether conspiracy theories arising during the 2019 carnivorous issue are linked to early trauma or a specific organization of the mind. Using the reptilian conspiracy theory as an example, the paper proposes that belief in conspiracy theories can activate unresolved memories of trauma and serve as a mediator between the psyche and intrusive content. Classic psychoanalytic concepts, as well as more modern ideas from Britton and Steiner, are explored to understand the role of early trauma and inner object relations dynamics in the development of belief in reptilian conspiracy theories. The concept of après-coup is introduced to explain how newer responses to familiar psychic experiences may shape beliefs in conspiracies. Additionally, the paper proposes that belief in conspiracy theories can function as a psychic retreat, meaning we use conspiracy theories as escapism while maintaining anonymity. Please, I hope that you can. Introduction. In the summer of 1939, a strange phenomenon occurred in the northern region of Galicia. Now, again, pay attention. Everything that happened right before the war is happening again now. We have been warned for the last several years. We have been warning other people. We got 3 days. And I'm not afraid of Trump. Like, that's not my jam. That's not what I'm about. That's not who that is anymore. Regardless, their goal is to get you to write down a name over your name. That is their goal. They don't care what name you do, write down. They just want you to do that. They'll figure out the rest. They just want you to hand over your sovereignty, and that's how you do it. It's how you do it. And now with everybody voting for something that I don't even think is a human being anymore, I don't know what the consequences are going to be. And I know this sounds crazy to people. Again, you can't end everybody. You can't buy everybody off. There are more of us than you. If mankind would decide to unite against this garbage, there's no reason for you to get involved in this. The toys they're giving you, the words, the books, all of it has been here. This is our land. We have every right to go forth, multiply, and have the earth under our dominion and tame it. They have no right to tell us where we can and cannot sleep. They have no right to tell these poor people without houses that they have no right to sleep. There's a reason they're pushing people into homelessness too. I would avoid places with large groups of people right now, not because I dislike people per se, but because it's dangerous for everybody. But I do think we need to gather in a smart and wise way. And I try to put these bits into the middle of the video so that only the reals will hear it. It's time to gather, and it's probably time that we put these screens down, but I keep trying and trying until God tells me enough. In the summer of 1939, a strange phenomenon occurred in the northern region of Galicia. Now, and just look, they don't want you to like Catholicism. They want you to think it's wicked. They want you to think it's Satanism. Is there a branch of it? Yes. It's in every church. It's in every organization. The deceivers are everywhere, just like we are. They sow the weeds they're the tares next into the wheat, right? So they are everywhere that we are. But Mother Mary, visions, dreams, people have been talking for a long time now, and God only warns for so long. So in the summer of 1939, a strange phenomenon occurred in northern region of Galicia, where a bloody cross, appeared in the sky just days before Hitler's invasion of Poland. People attempted to make sense of this bizarre event, with some interpreting it as a test of faith from God upon the nation. During the war, and this is funny, check this out. During the war, old conspiracy theories resurfaced, and some believed, because in the early 1900s, late 1800s, they found a city under LA. They found the old city under the new LA, and they knew that it was reptilian, right? You can still find out some news articles for that. I'm still looking for some. specific ones to show you. So anyway, during the war, old conspiracy theories resurfaced. Now this, mind you, this is in 1939. Some believe that the events in Europe were part of a larger Masonic scheme, with governments seeking to subject their countries to the Illuminati and their New World Order. Listening to my grandmother's stories about the war, I never anticipated that I would experience the renaissance of the conspiracy theories on such a massive scale. Hold, please. How are they conspiracy theories? The storm of the Bastille occurred. The lopping off of the heads of the royalty occurred. The martyring of the religious occurred. They didn't want any authority figures. That was the whole thing. And the church and the royals were the authority figures. Didn't matter if they were good or bad, they had to get rid of them. So that now you can choose your authority figures. Except, anyways, check this out. In April 2020, during the early days of the carnivorous, I encountered a few patients who shared an unconventional conspiracy theory that had gained significant attention on the internet. According to them, the world was being controlled by a dominant species of lizard humanoids known as reptilians, who comprise the richest and most influential people, top politicians, and celebrities, all conspiring to achieve ultimate control over non-lizard individuals. These theories were supported by independent internet sources that claim the conspiracy involved the creation of a false, followed by the administration of microchips embedded in an anti-V injectables that could cause infertility and ultimately lead to the depopulation of mankind. The unwavering belief in the reptilian conspiracy held by some of my patients puzzled me at first. However, as I delved into their cases, I noticed parallels between their early experience and the characteristic of this theory. This paper outlines my thoughts on the link between childhood trauma and the development of these particular beliefs. So they are connecting today's conspiracy theories that are happening and occurring, and they think they are blooming since the carnivorous issue and the lockdowns, when people actually had time to spend around each other and said, wait a second, something's not right here. I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. You follow me? You guys following any of this? Still, 4 thumbs up. You guys rock, man. All right, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to show you something else. Because what I'm going to show you is going to be a little stressful and triggering. And so you're getting your warning now. Here we go. I found this when I was looking for the other stuff. I also found a channel that I shared last night. The man who runs it talks a lot like me. We have some differing opinions as far as the church go, of course. Everybody's differing on all that. But I found him in the Kininigan. That's the name of his channel. So you can check that out. So this is by Laura Thea Tresser, PhD, Human Extermination. And we're reading here. We're just reading the cover of a book. Published by Laura Thea Tresser in 2023, New York. And we just looked, right? We just looked at what I was reading. The other side of the spectrum. That was written and released in July 2023, okay? So you have a lot of people here really trying to get their own words and agendas heard. Replacement behind the P word and World War III. Draconians, New World Order, come with their globalist elites, puppets. Triggering for me. And again, I'm just reading. I'm not interjecting any commentary just yet. This ebook is your chance to save your life and soul. Humanity must fight now, or we will be destroyed. I agree with that, but I'm a pacifist. If you lay a hand on these beings, that gives them legal rights to then be violent with you. If you bear arms, and again, I'm just delivering information here that God gave me. If you do decide to do that, and I'm not telling you yes or no, if you decide to take advantage of your constitutional right, and you have that in your home, spiritually, you are giving license for the spirit of violence to be in your home. Chances are somebody will be hurt by that thing if you bring it into your home. Eventually, someone will be done harm. I do not consent to them being under the same dwelling place as my body and soul. Like, it's just not happening. And I have to say that because even though sometimes they trample all over our consent, they know then that you're putting them on notice. They can't say, well, I didn't know. They can't plead ignorance, man. They can't plead plausible deniability. Like, the way we try to hide from God, the way we try to hide from our parents as little kids, right? The book of the Apocalypse describes a draconian invasion led by Satan through Draco's fake injectables, mixing their DNA with our DNA, wars and other strategies before Yahushua's second coming. If humanity knows all the truth, this invasion will end. It is late, but not too late. Read this truth, be warned, and decide if you're on God's side or against him. This is what I'm saying. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Look, man, I'm not telling you to be a Christian, Catholic. I'm not trying to make you convert. None of that. I'm telling you, we got a common enemy, and you need to wield the sword of the Spirit, which is your tongue. And you need to say simply no. Just say no. Nancy Reagan taught us. It wasn't drugs necessarily she was talking about. Just say no. Learn how to say no. I don't know if it's just me or my whole generation, but the women in my generation, we were not taught to say no. I had my mouth washed out with soap every time I uttered the word no to an adult. Don't you get mean to your elders. Don't you get nasty to your elders. And I would sit, that's why I have such a good imagination. I would just sit there with my tongue like curled in the back of my throat and daydream and look at the shapes of the wallpaper. Because they don't want us to know we can say no. That is your God-given right to not consent. So I'm going to go through the table of contents, but what we're really interested in here is part 3. So the introduction, part 1, divide and conquer. The origin of human drama, the black nobility and its poisoned fruits, black nobility, who they are and what they do, the evil alliance. Illuminati defectors expose the occult conspiracy, the structure of control of the Illuminati, the protocols of Zion and Illuminati power groups, the Committee of 300, destruction by wars, revolution, crisis, terror, and the T word, the Depop policy of the Illuminati. Soros and Gates, 2 criminals. Again, they're the faces that they use. Those guys probably aren't even real or breathing air anymore. The tools of the Illuminati for killing us unexpectedly, allegedly. Remember, I'm just reading from a book. Carnivorous, the third, of the Illuminati. Mescaline and Drena, child harming, cannibalism, and Satanism. Okay, we're going to have to go there. Because I don't want to is why. I don't want to go there, so I know that's where I have to go. Right? I don't want to do the right thing because it's the hard thing. But I know it's what I got to do. I don't want to do this. I don't want to make a bigger target of myself. Do you think I want that? I have no life other than my little dogs and my little job. I have no friends anymore. I have no family that will claim me. And those that I do love, I'm good with them being far from me so that they're far from me. It's not a joke. Like, they're destroying people's lives, like getting canceled or whatever. Like, that's just what they say on the surface. They are destroying us to keep these secrets, like utterly destroying us. And our children. All right. So we're going to check out, what did I say? The place I didn't want to go. Page 153. And then we're going to go to page 255 because part 3 is kind of where we want to dwell. Oh, hold up. The end of part 2, we have a chapter on ESA, CERN, and the algorithms to divine the future. Wonder how they keep knowing what you're going to do all the time? Seems like they can tell the future. You can too, but you got to pray. The Akashic records, God, source, father, mother, whatever you call it, downloads, uploads, these things are happening. They're happening to someone like me who didn't believe in any of it. I did the catechism. I believed in meditation, but it was a con to me more than anything, right? Intellectually speaking. Now I'm in it and I realize, like, what's going on. All right, so part 3, Dracos want the earth for them. The revolt of the triad, the wicked hierarchy, children kidnapped, abducted, and cloning farms. Fallen angels' work. They are returning from the abyss. The grand experiment ends our children. The final truth on fake you-know-whats and you-know-whats. On fake, the letter V's. Hybridizations and changelings. Oh, Jesus, help me. I'm sorry, because some of this is very personal, and I know that sounds impossible, but it is. After the quote-unquote rapture, they all will be betrayed. I have said this. I didn't need to read a book to know that. Humanity's last war. Nazis, CIA, and ISIS. Nobody ever puts together this alleged organization that causes terror everywhere, called ISIS. Like, nobody ever puts it with Egyptian or Babylonianism. Like, nobody ever puts it there. But that's what it is. Nazis in space. Hillary Clinton is a Pleiadian Drake. See, then they say something like that, and I'm like, man, nobody's gonna read that. Hillary Clinton is a Pleiadian Draco hybrid male spirit. DT is you see the word, right? Fourth Reich Draco Chimera alien. Oy. Oh my God. Help me. Help me. Okay. So and you see what I mean? We get some truth, and then it's like, it's out of our framework. How do you even relate to some of this? But again, we're going to check out a few things because there is truth to be found in certain places. 153. Oh, one more page. Okay, so you can read what it says there, right? It's mescaline, basically, and it is a word now. People use it all the time. I don't know. But you see what it says. Child harmers, loosh, cannibalism, and Satanism. There are 2. Hold up. This is like way small. Can I make this bigger? Oh, hello. Not that big. Oh, yes, that big. That's fine. All right. There are 2 political sides, left and right. Traditionally, left is for the more common people and the right for the rich, but as left and right are 2 sides of the same metal, Illuminati plan both. In 2006, Julian Assange founded WikiLeaks, a giant online library, the world's most sensitive documents provided by whistleblowers at the highest level. Information deals with war, spying, and corruption. So now you're getting into the Clintons. All right, check this out. Oh my gosh, man, there's the 33. Why do they do things that way? Do they actually do it that way? Evidence of their corruption was leaked by an employee of the Democratic of the DNC. If you don't know who Seth Rich is, you need to look him up. Because again, people call these things false, conspiratorial lies, but it's all connected to this big high-end corruption and crime that takes place. So you have to ask yourself, how many times does this stuff got to be said before people start getting it? They're laughing at us because we don't believe them, and they've told us the truth, and we still don't believe them. Check this out, Haiti, because again, what they did then is coming back to roost here and now. In 2010, and Ali Carter probably has a lot to do with that. And again, I have nothing against the girl. I've seen her somewhere, though, and she reminds me of an actress, and when I place her face, you guys know how I am with faces. Okay, so it says in 2010, after the devastating earthquake, 33 children were smuggled out of Haiti. Laura Gaylor Silsby was arrested because most of these children were not orphans and there were no adoption papers. They were trafficked. The kids had simply been stolen from their parents and later were reunited. She was on a board of directors that provides technology for Amber Alerts. That's also what Aaron Valenti wanted wanted to do with Tinker and her Tinker apps, but they've turned it into a joke now. I saw a commercial for it the other day when she caught wind of them using it like for, I guess, trafficking is the rumor. Allegedly, it's the rumor. If you don't know who Erin Valeni is, look it up. I've done videos on her, and I will probably do more because it's a story I revisit. Somebody is still adding stuff to her social media, or it's opening up more. I don't know which. Okay, so it says she was found guilty and convicted. Wow. So she created that whole system. Hillary Clinton's CPS was exposed in 2007. Here we go, 2017, when my world went to crap. The Clinton Foundation misappropriated earthquake donations. Klaus Eberwein, a former government official of Haiti, testifies about the corruption of the Clintons. He was found deceased only days before the trial on July 12th, 2017. Monica Peterson, a young social anthropologist who went to Haiti to investigate, and retweeted some critical thoughts about the Clinton Foundation, was found, deceased. Apparently, she ended herself the same way that the singers did. The singers who were against the son of Podesta. Chris, what's his face? I love his music. I listen to it all the time. Sorry, I've got allergy medicine going, and my dog is needing me. We are going to look more into this. I wanted you to check out this book. You see the symbols here. You see what they're getting into here. I'm very careful with this. And I'm going to end this where it began for me. This right here. Oh, don't do that. I wanted to highlight it. Do not let me do that. Okay, well, hold on. This right here. Can you see my mouse? This guy. He's a major sponsor to the foundation, and he loves going to Haiti with them. He founded the Boys Club Network for boys between 12 and 18, seeking connection and mentorship. My dad actually did something with the Big Brothers Club. But this guy, see him with the kid? That kid don't look happy, does he? There are pictures of him in a parade, Love Knows No Age, marching beside children in the early 80s. And when I posted that, shortly after my reptilian question to my friend in the UK, when I posted about this man, that's when I started getting stalked and shunned by my own family, and sold out by my own family and harmed by my own family, because I guess they're getting jollies out of doing that to me. Yeah. But you see the kind of people that we're dealing with. There's Trudeau. They all know that they're going to be in trouble, right? They all know this. This is why Trudeau stepped down. The problem is they're going to give you a hero also. And the hero is actually the anti-hero, right? He's got venom running in his veins, not blood. Learn these things, see them, recognize them when you see them. The world is made of symbols. All right. Thank you guys for hanging in here so long. My puppy is needing me. I have to go see what he's about. I will have more about this maybe in a live tomorrow, but I will also be uploading something about current events, and I'll keep trying to get the warnings out there as much as I can. So if you missed yesterday's stream, you can scroll through a lot of it, but there's warning in there, possibly about the 20th. I have to open up that video. I'll go do that. I will publicize maybe that video before I make this one public. Anyways, thank you for being here. Y'all have a blessed day. I'm going to go help my dog. Please pray for me. I could use it. If you're the praying kind, or send some kind thoughts. Having a hard time now. Working less. My body's having a hard time. I might put up my PayPal link just because, again, I believe we all need to support each other. But I might try to organize some type of exodus and plan it and do videos about planning it. There will be a reason that I showcase it, and I'll discuss that later. But anyone interested in just kind of protesting the system, the beast system, politely and effectively, let me know. No, I don't protest in the streets like those people. I protest in a different way. I turn my back on it and I walk away from it all. stop giving it my energy. I hope you guys learn how to do the same. I love you. May God bless you and keep you. May the Holy Spirit go ahead of you and soften the words, minds, and deeds of those that you will meet today. God bless.